forecasting, and let's toss in something called practical. We're going to look at some different aspects here. So let's take a look at our forecasting. A lot of the practical issues is do a periodic inventory review. Frankly, I think there's no reason why you can't have a daily inventory review. It doesn't have to be all that detailed. Just know what's coming in and what's going out of your facilities on a regular basis. Provide tight management on usage rate, lead times, and safety stock. Know that, keep a calculation and a rolling calculation on your sheet. Reduce your safety stock levels as much as you possibly can, but stay within that service margin that your organization has determined. If your service margin is 97% of all orders coming in, it doesn't matter how much you want to reduce safety stock. If that's your goal, then you stick with that goal. Make a decision and stay with it and try to honor that. Everybody will pressure you to reduce the overall inventory level, but as soon as you get one customer, especially a super expensive customer, one that gives you lots of money, and they're ticked off because of the fact you went too cheap on your safety stock, you might lose that and damage your business and your reputation in the industry. And introduce or enhance your cycle counting practice. Make certain it's accurate. Make certain who's ever doing it, you can trust in the process. Follow the ABC approach. The book talks about the ABC approach. You're going to have some items you never, ever, ever want to run out because you make so much money on it. It's your top seller. You're selling it for retail $2,000 and you're getting 10% in your coffer every time one goes out your door and hits the retail market. So you want to never be out of that versus a B, which is you can occasionally be out of it. It's not that big of a deal. You don't make a lot of money. And C, it might be that item that you only manufacture because it's so expensive. It's a $10,000 item. Your margin isn't that big of a deal, and you only sell 3 a year, but you want to be the one to sell it, but you may make it custom for that actual C. So follow ABC, make your determination what's an A and a B and a C product. That's a big thing. Also, if you're in retail, pay attention to who's your A, B, C, D customer. That's a big thing because of the fact that sometimes, no matter what the A wants, you get them whatever they want as fast as you can. But the D customer, you don't want to deal with because they're really a pain to deal with. So it depends where you're at in the market. Shift inventory or inventory ownership to suppliers. You know what? When it came down to just in time was developed by Toyota manufacturing company that sells cars, obviously, in Japan. What they did is they built their main plant and they directed all their main suppliers to build plants adjacent to theirs so they can carry pallets across the parking lot. They're almost down to this one last thing. The guy's putting shock absorbers on the car. Here comes the Camry, the last batch of shock absorbers. As soon as that person, they're down to the bottom of the bin for the shock absorbers. Boom! Here comes another forklift with another bin. As soon as that forklift from the other company next door passes the inner doors, all of a sudden then Toyota owns that bin of shock absorbers and they don't have any inventory carry costs. They let the shock absorber company next door carry it and they have instant things that forklift passes the doorway, boom, a switch goes off, they're charged for that amount and there's no inventory stock. It's like the ultimate system until you have a pandemic and the whole world goes aside because the whole world started using just-in-time inventory. Pay attention to the reality of sometimes bad things happen. Follow quantitative approaches and increase your turnover ratio. The more you turn over your inventory, the more money you make. So pay attention to that annual sales divided by your average inventory. The 3 rules of forecasting, I'm mentioning it again, the forecast is always wrong. The longer the forecast, the worse the forecast. Okay, and aggregate forecasts are the most accurate. So let's talk about different ways to forecast. There's usually 4 different categories. One is judgment method. You get a bunch of experts together. Yeah, I remember back in 19, whenever it was, and we did this over here. Yes, they'll do that because they're experts, been around a long time. Being around a long time does give you a feel for what the market is like. Judgment, a lot of times, this intuitive aspect based upon long-term experience is by far the best thing than number crunching, except the number crunchers would disagree with me. So you use the market research methods. Okay, quantitative studies of consumer behavior, analyze them. Why did you buy this with a short sleeve versus that one with a little bit longer sleeve that went down almost to the elbow? How come you did that? Okay, Sometimes they're paying attention to the micro details that the experts don't see because they're caught up so much in the past experience. They're looking for the current experience. So, market research methods, time series methods, I have to tell you that this is my favorite because you're looking on multiple different years as to what's happening and the changes in the industry. So, you have an aggregate of 3 years, a rolling time series as to your averaging cost. That's my way to develop budgets, but the time series you're looking as to what have we had in the past, and you keep a rolling stock with an analysis as to what the past history is to sit down there for your future expectations. And then you have causal methods, which are forecasts generated on a variety of system variables. All four of them are great. When you use all four of them, the probability of your forecast goes up, or even three. If you just bet it all on one, the probability of your forecast always being wrong is higher than it is if you use an aggregate of multiple types of categories. Okay, the judgment method. You get a Salesforce composite. It can be assembled by each person's sales estimate in a logical way. Train your salespeople to sit down there, anticipate it. They're the ones that are actually what we call where the rubber hits the road. They're out there. They're the ones doing the work. They're listening to their customers because they have a motivation to keep their jobs or hopefully get more commission and make more money in the process for them and the company. The Salesforce, pay attention to them. They're boots